Hey guys, today we're going to put on makeup together and I'm going to be testing new Kbeauty products, so it's kind of like a first impression too. All the products here are from Stylevana and I kind of have a full face of makeup. I only have my base on, so the first thing that we need to do is I need to set my base. I'm looking very dewy and kind of shiny. So the first product I have is from Heimish and this one is the Velvet Powder Pact. And I'm pretty sure that I had something from this brand before. I think it was the very famous All Cleansing Balm. Let's open this up. So it opens up like that. I haven't taken off the film on the mirror yet. It also comes with a pack, which, to be completely honest, I mean, it's a very decent size pack for the amount that you get inside here. Like such a small compact, but it fits such a big pack. But I'm not gonna use that. Has a divider on it, so I could bring the whole thing out like that for a touch-up powder, but I prefer to use my brush. I'm just using the Pony Effect 101 brush and I'm just lightly tapping so that I cover like one side of my brush, and you can see that it's very light kind of powder. I'm assuming there isn't much coverage to it. It looks like it's a little bit of a shine too, so hopefully it keeps me matte without making me look very flat. Oh wow, I do see a difference in my forehead compared to the rest of my face. It's supposed to be like a mattifying primer effect. I think it's kind of like a velvet finish because it is matte, but it doesn't like cling to the dry parts of my face. And I was really excited to try this because the one product that I had, which was the All Cleansing Balm, it was just like a very small tiny size, and then I decluttered it and I gave it to someone else to try because I just wasn't that interested in those kind of things like cleansing balms. They have skincare. I've never heard that they actually have makeup because they're just more well known for their skincare. I'm not sure if this is the brand that I tried the moisturizer from, but if it is, I did really enjoy their skincare. So the nose part, oh, definitely can go in with a little bit more. I don't pick up a lot of product, and sometimes if I go in a little bit too hard, there's like one tiny speck of a little bit too much of powder, but it all blends in really well. Now the chin is super hot because I have the curtains open because I'm trying to film in natural daylight. I look matte but not dry, and you can see that some of my makeup transfer onto the powder. So it's like one of those light makeup days kind of powder for me. It's supposed to have a sebum control setting powder pack feel to it. I see why this is good for touch-up because it is like a mattifying powder, not a coverage kind of powder, and it doesn't change the color of my makeup. So if that's what you're looking for, I think this is good for that. But if you have like acne and you want it for high coverage, then this is not it. Next up, for blusher, we have something super adorable, and this one is from Etude house. This is just the line, the Lovely Cookie blusher line, and this is the shade Peach Vanilla Cream. So adorable. I don't know which character this is because I have no life when I was a kid. Pretty sure it kind of looks like an elephant. But I wouldn't be able to tell you from which cartoon it came from. Super difficult to open, so it's very adorable. It doesn't come with a mirror, but it comes with this like over-the-top cute puff. It's just basically to fill up this little dome over here. It's also very soft. I personally would not use that. I use my brushes, and I've just been using the Luxie 522 tapered highlighter. It's not for blush, but I've been using it for highlighter. This is the shade of the blush itself. I would say it's just straight up like a pink, baby doll kind of pink. I'm not picking up too much, but I can kind of see the color pigment. If you see like brown stuff, it's a little bit of a leftover from my other makeup products. Oh, it's a very soft kind of color because it's Kbeauty. So I feel that Kbeauty is really good if you are like a beginner with makeup. They're just very soft kind of color. Slightly on the powdery side because they blend out easily, but they're not like super pigmented. This is definitely good for everyday, but since I'm talking to you via the camera now, you won't be able to see the color intensity as much as if I was just gonna go out for like a normal errand day. So I'm going to be putting on a little bit more than what I normally would put on. I just built up the color, and I thought that the more I build it up, the more it will become, like if I go over a level that's just too much, it will become like a bright shouting to you kind of pink. But no, it's actually like a gentle wash of color. So I do think that you can go in for like a daily use with this, or you can go in a lot more if you want to make it show more on the face. So next up, We have bronzer, and I can skip blush, fine, but I cannot skip bronzer. And this is another brand that I don't have here in Singapore, so if I want to get it, I can only get it on Stylevana. This is from the brand MACQUEEN, New York. It says New York, but it's actually made in Korea. It's all Korean words, and it's a Korean brand, I'm assuming. I have a couple products here, which is all from this brand, which I've never heard of. I feel like I've heard of MACQUEEN, but I think that was like a back brand. Or maybe it was this, who knows. This one is the Fake Up 3 color shading, and this is how it looks like. It is just right off the bat, like the famous Too Cool for School bronzer, and I actually panned that entire thing. So I really wanted to get another one of this, like 3 stripes kind of thing, because it just gives me a lot of choices. I can use like the darker one for all over the face, and I will use like this middle color shade for the like my nose, to contour my nose, and this one is just there to help me mix in and just adjust the color tone depending on how dark I am that season or that week. So for my face, let's just go in. My first time using, so I will have to mix and match the color if it doesn't work out right, but I'm just going to take the middle strip here for bronzing up my face. I don't really contour, so I usually bronze up. There's not a lot of powder flying up, so let's just see how pigmented this is. I'm using a brush from AOA Studio, and it's just the F12. Oh wow, I can see it. So let's hope that it blends out really well. So I guess just like patting a couple times is gonna be good enough pigmentation. I can see it over here, but I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll build it up a little bit more, taking the middle strip again. And I always like Korean bronzers because they don't look muddy, it doesn't escalate too quickly. Since I panned that out, I realized that if I want to buy a bronzer, this kind of color strips one is just very useful, because you know that it will work for different zones of your face. I remember sometimes I will use like the lightest shade for this part of my forehead. Oh, but this shade also works well for my forehead. But because I fully panned the Too Cool for School, I just didn't want to like have the same product again. So I was interested to try out a different brand, but I wasn't in the market yet. So I'm glad that I got this one, which is also a Korean one, but it's like a different brand. I just realized that I was meaning to take the darkest shade, but I took the middle shade which I wanted to use for my nose. So let's just take the darkest shade now. Maybe I was chatting with you and I unknowingly took the darker shade without knowing. I am definitely more yellow toned, so if you are kind of like me, you can take the darkest shade. But if you are more like a fairer tone, then I would say take the middle one. I'm just going to continue bronzing out, and then I will use a smaller brush to contour my nose. Now going in with the middle shade to contour my nose or bronze up my nose, I'm just using the AOA Studio F19. I know this is not the correct way for you to contour or bronze out your nose, but this is just what I do. I don't know, this just works for me because I have a fat Asian nose, so I feel like there's a lot of meat that I need to cover. And the way I put on makeup is, which is why I prefer Kbeauty, is that it's like a softer feel to it. And I always just put on with like fat, fluffy brushes like this kind, so that you can kind of see the color there after I blend it out, but there isn't like a visible line of difference, you know, in between the color of your skin and the color of like your color products. This is comparable to the one from Too Cool for School, and the lines don't blur if you are happening to be considering that one. I think I also saw it on the Stylevana website, and the packaging also looks similar. So next up, we are going to move on to the most exciting part, which is the eyeshadow. So the eyeshadow does not look that big of a package, I guess. It's just very small, but it looks so cute. There's a sound to it. So this is how it looks like, you know, like those little time pocket watches thing. And this one is from the brand LABIOTTE. It's a Korean brand, so I'm going to assume that's how they are pronouncing the brand name. And this is the Momentique Time Shadow. This brand is the one that's very famous for that wine glass looking lip tint, which was all the rage the last time. And I wanted to get it, but I never ever purchased it because it just looked so corny, as though the product wouldn't be good. It's just too cute, that's all. And this one is called 7 o'clock, which I thought was just so smart in a funny way. Like, it's pretty classy too. I just tapped out the piece of foil covering it. You can see it's quite powdery though. It is very small, but it is like feels like a cheap packaging. So let's just really test out the shadows for what they are. There is only one matte shade inside here, so we don't really have a choice. So let's just take a little bit of that. It seems like there is fallout. It's quite a powdery formula, and I'm just taking my Luxie 121 mini tapered eye brush because it's very soft and flexible, so I feel that it blends out matte powders very easily, just to set all my foundation that kind of travel up to my eyelids, and also just to create a nice base. Oh, it's a very nice color. I like the matte formula, that's for sure, but in general I really like mattes, so this is a matte that I like, and I like a lot of mattes. Okay, I'm just gonna take a little bit more to give it more opacity. Oh yeah, definitely I feel that if you blend more, it will just blend in more and more. So I can go in with a couple more pats of color. I'm very in the middle, you know, because I'm not sure if this packaging, is it cute and plasticky, or is it just like ingenious, like, oh, everything is packed inside there. If it drops, it won't break, and it's just so handy for traveling. So I think the main thing that will steer me towards either side will be the formula of the powders itself. If I was going to go out, this is the kind of brown that I would use, like just this color, and I won't go in with any shimmer shades because it's a matte, it's a brown, but it's also a little bit more peachy tone to it, so it's not very dark. So I find that this brown is not super straight up brown, it has a more like a warmth to it. So the brown is diffused, and now I'm going to go in with this one, which is the Wet n Wild. Oh, no number on it. Even if it had, it probably rubbed off. So I'm using all these trusty brushes that I've worked with before. And I'm going to go in with this champagne here. This 7 o'clock is very brown, coppery tone. Okay, let's just take this one, which is just like a flat, I think the name for it is flat shader brush. I could be wrong. I just call this my pack on brush. Okay, let's just pack on over here. Oh, you can see it. Oh, they do go well. They go together very well. Is what I was trying to say if my tongue would stop getting everywhere. That sounds wrong. Okay, so all I do is I just pat it on, and I'm not even using my fingers. You can definitely use your fingers if you want like a more pigmented look to it. But I hate doing that. I only like to use my brushes. So when some shimmers, they don't give me the result, when I'm just using my brush, I just don't have the patience for it, because why do I want to dirty my fingers? This is definitely not one of those. I can just use a brush to get the pigment that I want. So I'm done with my eyelid, and I usually don't put shadow underneath, but since we're here today, so why not? So I'm just going to take the champagne only, just so that I can see the color without this matte base. I only took a little bit, and I'm just going to be putting on the inner half of my lower eyelid, like the eye bag, the meat. So it's surprising because you can see a lot of like dots here. So I thought it definitely would have a lot of fallout, but I don't see any fallout. I mean, there's lashes for sure. My lashes drop out all the time, but I don't see any powder fallout. Yes, it definitely looks a little bit just like champagne on the bottom, so I definitely prefer it on top of the matte shadow. But if I was just going out like day to day, I would just put a very slight wash of the champagne so that you can see sparkles, but you can't really see a lot of color. But this one, it gives it like a hue of like sunset orange. Everything is definitely pulling a lot more orange than I expected, more than brown, even though over here it looks a little bit more brown. And I like that it has no fallouts. I like that it's pigmented, and I'm also surprised that this shimmer here actually cover up a lot of the matte shadows, because it's very like a thick formula. Usually I'll still be able to see the matte shadows underneath, but this like almost completely covered it up. And I'm using next for like the darker shade over here, which is also a shimmer, which is the Sigma Dome Blending E43. Okay, so I'm usually very scared of all this like black dark browns, so I'm only going to take a tiny bit. Oh, that's a lot of color for a tiny bit. And let's just pat it here. Yeah, so the darker color is definitely higher pigment, which is why I prefer Kbeauty in general, not just from Stavana or just my makeup collection in general, because I always get scared when it comes to the darker shadows, and I'm not even like doing this like the windshield. It's just way too much. I just like very lightly tapping it in. To me, that's enough. Let's go on to the other side over here, but I definitely have all these colors. I have, yeah, every single color here in my collection, so this is not anything new to me in terms of the color story, but it was nice to try out the formula. Now with whatever that's left here, I'm just going to put it on the outer edge, because my eyes are so small, so I feel like if I put too much, it just looks like I'm Just too busy over there. Did I even pick out anything? Yeah, ever so slightly just over here. And as you can see, it's looking a little bit crazy. I will need to blend out the edges. Going in with the AOA Studio E103 brush. Just gonna blend out this part here a little bit. And this part definitely needs some help. Next up, with this same dark shadow, I'm gonna use this tiny flat brush and I'm gonna create by squinting. I just want to create like a fake eye bag because I feel that makes my eyes a little bit bigger, but I'm not very sure of this shade. So with the color constraints, if this can help me do this too, then I can like travel with this, you know, when it's possible to travel again. More like this one compact can complete everything that I need. Oh wow. Oh yeah, it looks quite real. Not bad. Okay, let's try it on the other side. And then I'll use a brush to blend it all out. I'm really just like, you can't see, I'm taking ever so slightly, just a bit because it's so pigmented. And I'm just squinting and blending this like that. While I was letting my camera stop overheating, I went off and I did my mascara and eyeliner. And in terms of first impression, I have found my favorite product. Of course, I have to test it more, see if it smudges, see if it actually stays on and does what it's supposed to do. This is the MACQUEEN New York again, and the waterproof pen eyeliner. They have 3 different shades and they sent over the second shade. They chose it for me. The second shade is called, where's the English? Number 2 Deep Brown. So excited. Why I really like it is because, let me just show you the tip. This is how it looks like. Or you can see on a white background, that might be better. It is so thin, and I thought it would just be like, well, you know, it looks like my normal liquid pen eyeliner, but this is so soft. And it's not like soft to the point where it gets everywhere, it's hard to manage. It's very comfortable against my eyes. You can see my eyeliner today is not very thin because I'm filming a video, so I went in a little bit more, but you can do such a thin line. It did such a beautiful flake, but I did build it out a little bit more, partly also because it just felt so soft and it felt like, you know, like somebody caressing your eyelashes. Okay, so I definitely really like this. The color itself is not as bold as compared to my other brown eyeliners. But the brush, softest brush I've ever felt. That's not really a point that you should look for when you're buying an eyeliner, but just so you know. Okay, moving on now. Everything looks a little bit strange because I am missing my eyebrows. So this one is from the brand RiRe, which doesn't look like a Korean name. It looks very China, but it is a Korean brand. And this is a very big box and a very chubby product over here. So it looks like it's going to go haywire very easily. This one is the grey black, which is just shade number 4. I think they have different shades, but I felt that grey black always does the best for me. It's the Fog Eyebrow Tint. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Because it has this kind of like tree fog thing. I think I've only tried one of this product before. Let's just start and talk to you while I'm trying it. I'm a little bit scared because I'm just more used to pencils. I think I'm supposed to go and then like that. Which just sounds so tiring and so difficult. Oh wow, okay, grey black. Let's just try to be a bit softer because you can see this line here. Oh my, it's very pigmented. Let's just do here first because it's easier. Okay, it doesn't come with a brush on the other side. Yeah, that's probably just the packaging and I'm trying to force it open. So I definitely have to find like a brush to blend it out a bit because it is so scary looking. I think this has a learning curve to it, for sure. So I'm just going to, as best as I can. I look weird, right? It looks funny. So let me go and find a brush to fix this side. Here we go, a Kbeauty but normal pencil. And I'm just using a spoolie on this side because I don't have any like spare spoolies left. Oh, okay, they do blend out, but it's sad because it doesn't come with a spoolie. So every time I do it, I have to use some other eyebrow pencils. Oh, it's very, very pigmented. Grey black, right? Because it's pulling black. I fixed this eyebrow. It looks a little bit messy and I fixed it by blending it out so you can no longer see any fog here. It's just, the color is just blended out. It's either this is way too pigmented because or the learning curve is just way too steep and nobody can ever get it unless you've been using it for years. I feel like if I go too soft, I'm just tinting the hair. If I go too hard, I need to blend it out because it looks crazy. I don't know, I don't really like it. I was really excited for this because I thought it would create effortless, natural looking eyebrows. You can't like do this because then it looks crazy, but you can't do like bit by bit because then it just looks extremely fake. And like this part, what do? It's too big. No, this is definitely a fail product for me. Let's try to fix it. Yeah, by budging the color. Okay, RiRe eyebrow tint was a disappointment in terms of the color and the applicator, and I had to use my Heimish to blend out just so that this doesn't look as crazy. Okay, we're moving on. I will still use it, but I would think of it as just like a marker color, that's all. And then next up, we have this one, which is also from MACQUEEN. Maybe MACQUEEN is the good brand. This is the MACQUEEN Cotton Tint, and they gave me the shade MLBB Coral 04. I love anything that has MLBB inside, and this is how it looks like. It reminds me of Petty Pella, but Petty Pella is very fat and like taller here because it obviously has a brush for you to hold. This looks scary, like it's just gonna pour out, but yes, they have a brush. A doe foot applicator. It's a cotton tint, so oh wow. Oh, this smells really, really good. It smells like sweets. It smells like candy. It's like strawberry and all tropical goodness paradise. Okay, first up, the smell. It's really very nice. It's like a mousse, so I'm just gonna apply here. I did put lip balm, but that was like 1 hour ago, and I already wiped it off 1 hour ago. So what I always do is, honestly, I never really applied this onto my finger. I always apply it onto my fingers. But because it's like a velvet, so it should blend out well. It feels very moussey. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Make sure if it blends out. Wow, it's very, very moussey. Oh my gosh, this is the second coat. So just now it was very MLBB, but if you want it to be like coral, you just put 2 coats on. Yeah, it doesn't look super glossy, like glass-like, because it isn't like a very hydrating kind of formula. It's meant to have a velvet finish, I'm pretty sure, because it feels like that. And also because I didn't have any lip balm on underneath. So what I do is I always use my finger to pat it out, just to give it a softer look. It has the word Air Cotton Tint on it. It just did all the work for me. You can see all I did was just like tap it out, to be completely honest. It sat down. It has a very powdery finish. My lips look healthy. You know, it's like a very blurry kind of blurring effect to your lips. So it doesn't look that dry. So the lip product is definitely a yes. I really like this formula. And this is the completed look. So I'm just going to close my eyes just so that you can see the eyeshadow itself. I think that for first impressions, I enjoy everything except for the eyebrow tint. The powder is good, but because of the location that I live in, you can't really suck up a lot of oil. I'm already starting to get a little bit shiny. The standout products, definitely the eyeliner, the lip tint. Eyeshadows are good formula, but I have these colors. Blush I really do like, and the bronzer definitely works very well for me too. So this is my face from Stavana. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!